2025 has not been a better year for Disney by any stretch of the imagination. We finally got their financial reports. We see how their stock is performing, and it feels like Disney is dying of 1,000 self-inflicted wounds in 2025, Aaron.
Death by 1,000 bad Bob Iger leadership decisions?
According to Disney's fiscal year 2025 SEC filing, the company's theatrical distribution segment generated $2.592 billion in revenue, representing a 14% year-over-year increase, which sounds great. However, programming and production costs totaled $4.26 billion, exceeding theatrical revenue by $1.6 billion. Additionally, selling, general, and administrative expenses, which includes marketing, prints, advertising, and licensing costs, added another $2.746 billion of expenses. When combined, production and marketing expenses significantly outpaced box office earnings, indicating that theatrical film segment operates at a substantial loss before accounting for ancillary revenue streams such as streaming distribution, home video sales, and merchandise licensing.
And it seems like Disney has gotten so incompetent in their ability to make things that appeal to people and get people to go to the theater. Their reputation is so badly damaged at this point on most things, most franchises, that it would just be better for them to put that money into an account and just collect the interest.
It would be more financially prudent for them not to make the movies that they're making.
Yes, and maybe just stop making movies altogether. Bob Iger comes out during the calls and he tries to put the best spin on it and hide it as much as he can and not take any rough questions. But it sounds like they had no choice but to come out and say yeah, we lost an assload of money this fiscal quarter on films and I don't know how
it was slightly profitable at $1.5 billion, but once you realize that it cost them $24 billion to make all the streaming and all the costs with that, it's not exactly a good return. I love the part where they say, well, we made money on licensing and video on demand stuff, which is basically Disney Plus paying Disney for the opportunity to broadcast the streaming rights for the Disney stuff. So it's basically Disney paying itself and calling that revenue. Yeah, so I guess there's no more carrying water for Disney. Are we finally going to have people admitting that Disney is losing money hand over fist, specifically on all their movies, whether it be Star Wars, MCU, Pixar, Disney Animation, Disney proper, all the franchises they've gone out there and basically destroyed over the past 5 or 6 years?
I mean, it's nice that the mainstream media is finally being forced to admit it. Of course, people who've been looking at this stuff and actually, don't have a dog in the fight as far as, keeping Disney happy with positive PR have been saying this for a long time. This has been a long time coming. The fact that they keep renewing Bob Iger when, in fact, Bob Iger has proven to be the emperor's clothes. It's like when Disney was just making money hand over fist and he could just acquire things and then run out the clock on those, he looked like he was doing a really good job. But really, this is a weatherman that is beyond his depth in this company. He's not a creative. He doesn't understand the soul of what made Disney work. He's actually said, well, we needed to move away from Walt's vision and not be so slavishly, adherent to it. Oh, how's that working out for you, Bob? Because, Walt actually built something. All you've done is tear it down. You just acquired things like the Borg. You didn't know how to handle them. You didn't know how to manage them. You've ruined them. You ruined the brand of brands. You ruined Star Wars. Within 5 years, you made that a toxic brand. I go into the store now. Star Wars used to have a big big toy section. That used to be where they made a ton of their money. It was obviously on merch. Now it's down to one little row at Target, and the figures are just hanging there. All brand new TVC figures, they're just hanging there. The new Black Series stuff comes out, it just hangs there. Aside from a couple of hardcore, nobody buys it. When I'm out selling toys at shows, you get a couple of people asking for Star Wars, maybe, and they're asking for stuff from the original trilogy. Or from the expanded universe. Hey, you got that new Kyle Katarn figure yet? That's the kind of thing that they're asking for. Nothing that Disney has produced has resonated with anybody. They had that brief window where people were excited about The Mandalorian, and that's been it. That's over now. I can't wait to see how that movie faceplants next year.
Under Bob Iger, they've tried to compete with Netflix and other streaming services out there. It's been an enormous detriment, and the numbers certainly spell that out. Over the past decade, Netflix stock delivered approximately 118% total return, while Disney stock returned approximately 28% total returns, creating a 90% point performance gap in Netflix's favor. Netflix's growth was driven by consistent subscriber expansion and successful international market penetration. Disney's underperformance stemmed from multiple factors: sustained losses in its streaming division, declining revenues from traditional linear television networks, and investor concerns regarding content strategy execution. The comparison highlights divergent business model trajectories: Netflix's pure play streaming focus versus Disney's diversified entertainment conglomerate structure.
But like Disney's trying to be all things to all people. They see something shiny and Bob Iger wants it. He wants, oh, the streaming is big. We want to be, we want to be there. We want to be number one. Oh, video games are big. We want to be there. You remember when Bob Iger came out and said, oh, it just seems that a lot of people like video games. It's like, yeah, dipshit. People have liked video games for a very long time. Glad you finally stumbled onto the party. Hello, fellow kids. This guy is not a visionary. He could have left right before COVID and had a pretty good reputation because he oversaw, all these acquisitions and Disney was still doing really well. But his ego wouldn't allow Bob Chapek to run the company. And so he had to come back, and he has completely destroyed his legacy. And I love to see it. I love to see it because that's what really matters to him. People like him, people like Kathleen Kennedy, it matters how they're perceived. It matters what their legacy is. And they have both just, they both could have walked away at the height of, the smoke and mirrors. And instead they had to come out and they had to prove just what clowns they are.
Well, they certainly have killed the perception of Disney as a brand over the past decade or so. You no longer associate Disney strictly as the best kids, entertainment company in the world. Programs that you can just put in front of your kids and be happy and know that they're going to be getting something that's wholesome and appropriate for them. They used to be the world's biggest experience brand. You go to Disney World, you go on Disney cruises. They had all these things in the bag, and then they decided, well, we need to go grab boys brands, turn them into girls brands. We need to become our own digital distribution unit. We need to start becoming a little bit edgier. We need to acquire everything. And in the process, they've completely destroyed their brand identity while Netflix's continues to grow because they didn't go, you know what? Let's become Disney.
Yeah, and they got infected with like activism and things that were never going to fly, with their business model. You had, remember that lady coming in and saying like, well, I think that our goal is to have 50% of all of our new characters created be queer.
That's a weird goal for a family company.
It's a really weird goal for any. I mean, unless you're a company that specializes in queer entertainment, like hey, yes, this is our mission. We make shows for queer audiences. That's a really strange goal, especially if you want to make a lot of money because you're appealing to a very niche audience. Disney has gone from the babysitter that you can leave your kids with for, an hour or two while you get something done around the house to the babysitter you don't want to leave your kids with because they're going to try to touch your kids.
No doubt. And you've mentioned the DEI stuff. They're trying to run some of that back. Disney's recent SEC filing omits the terms diversity, DEI, and D&I for the first time since 2019, while also reportedly dropping mention of its Reimagine Tomorrow initiative and the Disney Look guidance. Concurrently, a key executive role has been rebranded. Tanisha Agramonte is now the Senior Vice President and Chief Opportunity and Inclusion Officer, replacing the previous Chief Diversity Officer title. This shift in both terminology and executive title suggests a corporate pivot away from the explicit DEI language toward a focus on opportunity and inclusion and talent strategy.
Yeah, they're trying to rebrand it so that people aren't upset about it. So people don't hear it and go, but that's exactly what it is. Like, whenever I hear like inclusion officer or, identity manager or any of these, like, it's like, what are you doing?
Fake made up fucking titles, fake made up jobs.
Yeah, that you can just bring in some gender studies idiot who is just going to cause trouble. That's the point of the job, is to go through and tell you how your company is failing. You're always going to be failing because they always have to justify their job. Go back to merit-based promotions and you will end up with natural diversity.
But we've seen this, push towards DEI and hiring all these inclusion experts and sensitivity readers essentially blow up in every single company's face. I mean, how many video game companies does Sweet Baby Inc. need to destroy before people catch on that this shit is literally toxic to money?
It's a microcosm of Marxism and communism, which again is another thing that's like, it's never worked once, it's always failed, but we're going to be the ones to get it right.
Now, there are some opportunities for Disney to start maybe making some money on movies. Certainly, we saw Lilo and Stitch was very, very successful. Unfortunately, it wasn't successful enough to overcome all the bombs. The new live-action Moana trailer released. The trailer showcases photorealistic CGI combined with live-action performances, featuring recreations of iconic scenes from the 2016 animated original, with observers noting that certain elements, particularly background environments and water effects, appear less organic in the live-action adaptation despite utilizing more advanced rendering technology. The remake is being positioned as part of Disney's continuing strategy of adapting its animated IP for new theatrical releases. And if this doesn't work, they're really, really screwed because they're kind of all in on just remaking their own shit at this point.
This is the problem, is that like they have a bunch that flop, but then they'll have one that hits and they're like, oh, so they're just addicted to that one hit, but it doesn't end up covering all the ones that flopped. The success of Lilo and Stitch does not cover the failure of Snow White. Whether Moana is successful or not. And I saw the trailer, and Moana is one of my favorite Disney animated films. I saw that trailer and I felt nothing, except disgust. But why is CGI so brown now? Like everything just looks darker and brown and kind of gross. Everything about it just looked lifeless and far inferior to the animated version. But I guess as long as there are idiots willing to pay $14 to go and see this trash, they'll keep doing it. So really, is it Disney's fault, or is it the fault of the audiences that keep paying for this slop?
I think this movie will do great. I think it'll outperform Snow White by a lot. I don't think it'll do Lilo and Stitch numbers, but I think it'll be kind of close to it.
I hope not.
I'm with you, man, because the movie's only 10 years old. And there's no reason for a live action Moana movie, and certainly not one with The Rock playing the exact same role. They've got another big thing happening this year. Early reactions from industry insiders and critics who attended Zootopia 2 preview screenings have been predominantly positive, with particular praise directed towards the film's visual advancement over the 2016 original, narrative complexity, and thematic depth. The sequel reportedly expands the world building established in the first film while addressing more sophisticated social themes. The sequel is anticipated to be a major commercial success, potentially matching or exceeding the original 2016 film's $1 billion box office gross in near unanimous critical acclaim.
When I hear that, it's examining more complex social themes, I'm like, yeah.
Feels like a red flag, doesn't it? It's like, don't watch me. This is not going to be the movie for you and your kid.
I'm good with that. And then I see that they're again saying it's got Disney's first openly gay character. This is like the 17th first openly gay character we've had in a Disney film.
I like Zootopia. I didn't like it as much as Inside Out. Obviously, the Inside Out sequel did gangbusters. I don't know that you can count on Zootopia quite doing those kind of numbers, but
I liked Zootopia far more than I liked Inside Out.
Yeah, that's because you're crazy and you don't know good movies when you see them.
No, it's because
I mean, I like the rabbit humping jokes as much as anybody else, but I think this is a harbinger of the future of what Disney is, because these are probably the only things that'll be successful. We're just going to continue getting live action remakes of classics that they've already done, or maybe things that aren't even classic, and just sequel after sequel after sequel, because they can't do original stuff because nobody trusts the brand anymore.
No, and I think that the reason they keep going back to the well is because at least that recognition, at least people go, okay, I kind of know what I'm getting. So they're a little more trusting of that than they are anything new. You can share the original. It's far superior. Nobody should watch that live action Lilo and Stitch instead of the animated Lilo and Stitch. It's an inferior version, far inferior.
My kids loved it, but they do also like the animated movie.
And
but I don't think any of their remakes have come close to touching the originals yet.
No, I don't think so either. I can't think of a single one that
they're like just like the most soulless representation of what the movie could be.
Even How to Train Your Dragon, the live action one, which I was, people were like, did you like it? And I was like, yeah, I liked it because it was a shot for shot remake of the thing that I already like. So did I like it as much? No, it's darker. It's just darker on the screen. It's not as bright. It's not as the animation, obviously, with the live action, you lose a lot of the charm. So it's not as good. But did I enjoy it? Sure, because I enjoyed the thing that it is, which is just the exact same thing, but with less interesting visuals and less interesting acting.
Now, they have a major Star Wars problem that I think they know that they need to address, but there are a few people out there that believe they know exactly what they need to do, they being Disney, to get back on track. There's a growing sentiment within mainstream access media suggesting that the solution to the Star Wars franchise's recent struggles is to increase the visibility of actor Pedro Pascal, star of The Mandalorian. They argue that Pascal's face is now more valuable than the Mandalorian helmet that defines the character's traditional mythology, advocating for a shift to spotlight him as the emotional center of the upcoming film, The Mandalorian and Grogu, This push comes despite Pascal's recent box office performances in 2025, which included 2 commercial flops, Eddington and Fantastic Four: First Steps.
Pedro Pascal's not a star. Putting his face on things actually turns more people off than it attracts. So,
and I think the people that are saying this know that, but they want it to be like Pedro Pascal coded moving forward, so they can just claim it and say, it's ours, it always was ours. All those people that used to claim to like Star Wars were always posers, and this is what Star Wars will always be, even though it'll be a tiny fraction of what it once was.
Yeah, and none of those people will pay to see it. I mean, this is a really great idea put out by his PR firm, I'm sure. Pedro Pascal's lumpy face being the face of anything is box office poison. I would see a Carrot Top movie before I'd see a Pedro Pascal movie at this point.
You know what we need more now more than ever is fucking Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
He wouldn't let any of this bullshit pass. He would be smoking these guys left and right.
Yes, he would. Oh, I miss Norm.
Everybody misses Norm, but we need that sense of irony now because we are being sold on bullshit after bullshit after bullshit. And the idea that Disney is doing great, I think we can put that away.
Pedro Pascal is just like is slightly less offensive an idea than like, let's make Cynthia Erivo the face of some franchise.
If you would like the entire conversation, because the Geek Fix is an entire podcast lasting 2.5 hours, you do need to go to Think Critical Patreon and channel memberships to get all that great goodness and all that stuff. Hope to see you there very soon.